Welcome in, everybody. It's another episode of Cuzzo and The Commish. Uh, After week one of the 2023 NFL and fantasy season, I am Ryan Cuzzo Elias. Joining me, as always, Brendan The Commish Ricciardi. What's going on, Brendan?
Well, nothing much. It was honestly a pretty boring week as a whole around the league in terms of talent. I mean, Drew, as we'll talk to in a little bit, was a high scorer. 137 is a good week. Don't get me wrong, but like outside of him, like I think Jason was in the 120s, but other than that, it just seemed like a really slow start for offense every.
Right. I called it like a really weird week, and I think that's pretty true. A lot of guys, not playing last minute, right? A lot of really low scores this week, but that's sure to work itself out. Personally, I think a lot of low scores, we don't really see starters play in the preseason at all anymore, right? Because there are only 3 games. And I think that, sometimes that can leave some guys rusty. And we saw 4 of the best quarterbacks in the entire league have down weeks in week one this year. So I'm sure that'll write itself out. It might take another week or two, though.
Yeah, I mean, week one's the classic overreaction week, right? Like, everybody wants to make their hot takes, and I mean, this is a hot take podcast, so of course we'll be having our 2 cents here. But at the end of the day, it's a long season. I mean, I lost my first game. I've had plenty of years where I won in week one and felt good, and then it all went downhill. So maybe this is the recipe for success here. But with that being said, we got a lot to talk about here.
That's right. I think we should dive right into it with our primetime week. Oh, Jesus Christ. Before we dive into the primetime weekly recap, let's talk about something that went down on the reconfigured waiver wire this year.
Yeah, so with the 1,000 budget, there was going to be a lot of question on how people would approach it, right? Like how people would decide to spend their budget, and I really think the only I wouldn't even say bad, just outrageous decision was Owen spending 450 of his 1,000 on Puka Nakua. Hey, listen, if he's a legit starter for him, he won't regret it. But like, you burned 45% of your budget in week one.
Yeah, that was that was definitely interesting. But hey, to each their own. Definitely needs an injection of something good in that locker room there and in that franchise. So hopefully that'll help him right the ship a little bit. But certainly a questionable move.
Yeah, and I mean, other than that, I think there was definitely some action. I mean, I only spent $20 on TJ Watt, mostly because like, for an IDP, I wasn't really sure what people would be paying. I kind of just wanted to have something where if there was anybody else that didn't bid on him but got to him before me, like when they woke up, I didn't want to have to worry about that. But let's see, I'm pulling up the reports here just on what some people were able to get. Justice Hill was $212. Logan Thomas was, I believe, 51. Kendrick Bourne was 50. Pretty conservative. I mean, Justice Hill has a chance to be an RB1. Depends on what Baltimore decides to do. But with that being said, it's definitely going to be a learning curve. I wouldn't be surprised if some people just keep their budgets and, come week 15, someone spends like $900 on somebody. Like, I don't know. Everybody has their own philosophy.
That's right. It'll be certainly interesting to see how that plays out as the year goes on.
Yeah, well, for the primetime weekly recap, since I don't have the ESPN soundbite up on this yet, there's a bunch of background music options. I think I should each game just pick a different one they have and see if any of them are pretty cool.
All right, this will be pretty funny. We're definitely going to find some interesting ones here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started then. This is the acoustic cinematic.
Perfect song to describe this game.
Yeah. Oh wait, now I forgot. I have the screen sharing function. I discovered that, so let me pull up our first game here. So we'll do the game of the week in the butthole clencher and the butthole blow, and then we'll get Drew on. But let me pull up our first game. Why don't you tell everybody while I start pulling it up here?
All right, this is going to be our butthole clencher of the week. It's going to be the Collegeville Cashflow Kings taking down the Bison City Lake Effect 118.08 to 111.84. Leading the way for the Cashville Kings was Justin Jefferson. Stellar game in their loss to Tampa Bay He had 25.5 points. Great game from Aaron Jones as well. He actually scored 26.7 there in their win over the Chicago Bears. Not a lot of production from the quarterback from both teams here. The leg effect with Josh Allen, only 9 points in their loss on Monday night. But great game from Stephon Diggs, nonetheless, with 26.2. Tony Pollard cementing his role as one of the top running backs in the league with 22.2 in their big win over the Giants.
Yeah, and Jacob, I really thought he was going to do it, man. Like, there was points in this game where on Monday night it really looked like he was going to have the chance to come back when he had 4 guys going in this game. But at the end of the day, man, Allen was just too careless with the ball. Like, there were some times where he throws the ball and you're just looking around like, what the hell was that, right? Like, he just, the plays that make him special are the plays where he's just like running around like a madman and just chucks it up. And days like today, they just didn't find the right receivers and it cost him, right? Like, I mean, this is a game where he only lost by a total of 7 points, 3 interceptions, right? You do the math.
Absolutely. Certainly just a crazy game, though. I mean, these quarterbacks not performing this week is just kind of crazy to me. But, like I talked about earlier, it could be just a bit of rust that's sure to shake itself out. Great game from Bobby Wagner as well.
We have some positive feedback here. The music is amazing. Thank you, Jason. We got a lot of options here. I mean, ideally, I can get the ESPN sound bites in here, but I don't have time for that one today. I mean, overall, it's weird to see a game where Stephon Diggs has 26 and Allen has 9, right? You don't really expect that to happen. But, big win for Ari to start the year. Wasn't a great year for him last year, so I know to get off on the right track is a good start.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the butthole blowout of the week here, and let's see what music. This music is called Feeding the Ducks.
Presented, as always, by IBM Watson, our good friends.
I don't know why this is Feeding the Duck music here, but apologies. Yeah, I mean, even this, a blowout's a relative term. I mean, this is a 27-point game. Start off here with the Shekels. Christian McCaffrey led the way, 25.9. Patrick Mahomes, even though they lost to the Lions, 19.5 is, an okay day for a quarterback. Maybe not for some of his standards. 16.5 from DeAndre Hopkins, 13.2 from Cortland Sutton. This is one of those days where, nobody really wowed you on this team outside of McCaffrey, but everybody did just enough that, 123 is probably going to win you a lot of games in this league, looking around. As for the Copperheads, I mean, Drake London not getting a single catch really, really hurt. Jalen Hurts playing in the tough weather. He had that fumble. Couldn't really get that much going in the air. Only 21 points. Jordan Addison, 16.1. There's really not that much to be excited about except Tyler Algier on the bench at 24.
Yeah, pretty interesting there. Just the trend of these lackluster games from these great players it's just interesting to see once you really break it down here. But not a great game from either team. Pretty pedestrian effort. Outside of McCaffrey, as you said, just don't believe the smoke and mirrors when it comes to the Shekels here. Okay, this team's going to fall back down to earth. They really aren't even that high right now, and I'm still not high on them.
They are very, very active on the trade market, though. As I'm sure our guests will talk about as well. The offers are already actually, I wouldn't even say offers because offers haven't been made, but the what's the word? The inferring, the
phone calls are being made.
Phone calls are being made. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go a little out of order here because we have them in our waiting room and skip to the IRS taking down Bed Bath and Bijan. With that being said, we welcome on 2-time Clancy Bowl champion Drew Robinson. Drew, how are we doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on the show. Excited to be here. Also, Feeding the Ducks. This is a very, very big lo-fi vibe.
It is. All right. Well, now that it's a new game, Drew, can you see the options for the background music on the side?
I can't.
If you can click brand, you see that tab right there?
I don't know. I'm on my phone.
Okay, never mind. All right.
This is within the Snapchat browser.
Yeah. All right. Things. Let's go. There's one just called Rock.
Let's do it.
This sounds like more your speed here. All right, let's talk about this matchup here. Drew, you led the league with 134.31 points. And before I ask you anything, I do want to play this clip here just because we make plenty of wrong predictions on this show. But this is by far the most hot take I've ever had come right. Let's play this.
Maybe show up on a big stage for his first game. But I'm calling a Tyreek Hill. I'm calling a Tyreek Hill 40-burger against the Chargers.
40-burger?
40-burger. Opening day, 200-yard game. See it.
I like that.
Listen, to get the 40-burger and the 200 yards right, that one felt pretty good. And Drew, I'm sure it felt pretty good for you too.
I'm very thankful that you nailed it on the head. Because also I was watching my team. I had a lot of lackluster performances, and I thought Owen really kind of had it in the bag. And then it was basically just at the end of the 4 o'clock games watching Tyreek. It's like, oh my God, Tyreek just got another 6. It's like, oh my God, I just got another 6. And then watching both the 44.5, damn, feel bad for Owen, but what a dog. Piece of shit, though. Piece of shit. Don't get it wrong.
Hey, they don't have to be the most upstanding guys to get the job done. We've learned that plenty of times in this league.
That's the NFL.
Feel good to get the week 1 win, though.
Absolutely.
It almost feels like Tyreek Hill was the only star skill player to have a dominant week. Really.
No, I know. And one of the funniest comments was Chris just for no reason at all in the group chat saying, imagine drafting Jamar Chase over Tyreek Hill.
Just
which
unprovoked.
Honestly, unprovoked, but also couldn't be a more who took Jamar?
It was Carter at 3.
Yeah, Carter. I'm sorry, man, but you missed out on a dog.
Well, it's funny because when he said that, in my head, because I think Chris had Tyreek last year, if I'm not mistaken. So when he said that, I was thinking he was bragging about himself. Be like, I can't believe you took Chase and I got Hill. And then I looked, I'm like, wait a minute, he doesn't even have him.
No, he just was, fucking calling people out for no reason, which is fine by me when it's my player.
It's the North Philly way. All right, Drew, tell us about the squad this year. What are you liking just going forward? What are you not liking? What do you think, the outlook is?
I'm definitely liking my receiving core. DJ Moore, a little lackluster start last week, but I'm pretty confident he's going to get better than that. Fields just looked trash. Also Jahan Dotson and Odell Beckham to boot. There's a lot of potential within those guys. Where I'm lacking for sure, though, is my running backs are an interesting situation. Jahmyr Gibbs playing 30% of the snaps definitely caught me off guard. He ran angry when he was on the field, so definitely an IRS type of player. Love to have him. Just want to see that snap count go way up. I'm not wishing bad things on David Montgomery, but I'm not. Cam Akers, everyone warned me about him. Everyone said it was a bad idea, and you know what? 8.9 is better than I could have hoped for.
22 carries for 29 yards is crazy.
No, he's just he's not it. I thought he had a good end of the year last year, and I was like, oh, he's totally gonna build on that, right? And no, and he got fucking outrushed by his backup, so that's just gonna be nothing but bad news for me. That being said, Brian Robinson has gotten the leap into the starting lineup this week because he had a pretty decent week last week.
Yeah, I think that I like that move for you. This guy got shot. He's got to have some type of grit,
He's got that dog in him.
Ooh, we got a comment.
Whoa.
Carter does not take criminals on the franchise.
Let me look at Carr's roster right now because I bet I can
Yeah,
find
I was literally about to look up.
it.
I'm pretty sure Jamar Chase, I don't know, he's not a criminal, but didn't someone call him out for being a deadbeat dad or something, or accuse him, say that he was the father of their kid or something? There was something crazy with
Hey, Jameson Williams got suspended for sports betting, so take that for what it's worth. Other than that, I guess I don't know, he might be right. Graham Gano, he might have a sketchy past.
This is way off topic. I'll hold that for later. Sorry about that.
Nah, bring it up.
I need the Jets to sign Jameis Winston because I need.
I would love to see Jabo.
What? Yeah, that's 6 more primetime games they have.
Yeah, he's the Saints' backup right now, so they'd have to trade
for a W.
Yeah, he's gonna eat the W right on MetLife.
Yeah,
and then MetLife turf will eat him. That field is atrocious.
Yeah, the
You
Eagles
know,
have
it should all be grass. If you own a football team, you should be able to take care of grass.
Agree.
Yeah.
Big agree. Oh, you know who also disappointed me this week was Nick Bolton. You know, last year I think he was like a top scorer as a linebacker, and you know him to come out with an 8.25, lackluster. Like to see better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think
defense wins Clancy Bowls, and really starting it in the trenches there is how you set the groundwork for your team to have a successful season. That's what I preach in my clubhouse, and you know my players really take to that. That's why we were able to scratch out a gritty win this week.
All right, well, let's move on here, Drew. We'll keep you on. You can just give your 2 cents. Now that we have this setup here, it makes sense to do so. So I guess our next matchup here will be the North Philly Neanderthals and the Rocks. So let's get to that game here. Rocks score. It was a close one. Neither team really impressed so far. The Neanderthals took it 102.79 to 90.58. 27 from Tua Tagovailoa was the only player on Chris's team over 20. Dallas Goedert, that was probably the biggest surprise, not having a single catch whatsoever. But
only one target. One target.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of last year when Devontae Smith didn't have a catch in the first game against the Lions. But it was the same thing we talked about a little earlier. Like everybody on the team did just enough. Like Ramondre 14, Miles and CD had 11, so did Michael Thomas. I don't think Chris is happy with his performance. He was also missing Cooper Kupp as well. So, I mean, it's a win. It's a week 1 win, but there's definitely some concern, I would say.
Yeah, the concern for me, I think, is a little bit less than you're saying here. Dallas Goedert's going to get his this year. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And Brian Johnson is going to and has to figure out a way to get him involved in the game. The big thing I'm seeing for Chris here is that all of his starters, besides Goddard, besides his defense and kicker, because that's all week to week right there, the kicker and defense. So I'm not really going to spend much time on that. All of them are still in double digits, which is a lot better than a lot of guys in this league had this week. It's some semblance of consistency that I think is really going to lend a hand to him down the road. This is a pretty good team. He's light in the running back room, I still think. But just a powerhouse receiving corps is definitely going to eat this year.
Yeah, concern probably wasn't the best word of choice. I would just say maybe more confused. I would say the running back corps is probably still among the middle to lower half of the league. But, man, I don't know if anybody has a better set of 3 receivers than CD, Devontae, and Kupp. If Kupp gets back to what we've seen over the last 2 years, and even if he's not as good as the last 2 years, just like top 5, top 10, he's in a pretty good spot. As for the Rocks, man, it's a tough look when you're starting Deion Jackson in week 1. Like, I know he's got Breece Hall looked really good in his carries. Javonte Williams on the bench will probably flip with both Najee and Deion Jackson. I don't know. Snyder's team's confusing. Like, he's got some good players, but I think Geno's come back down to earth. I think that I don't know. I don't think they're going to be as bad as I thought before, but I still don't think it's like a playoff team, I guess.
No, this is a low middle of the pack team, if not low end team right here, and going to crash and burn like a dumpster fire, much like the Shekels.
All right. Yeah. Well, Chris take this one. He escapes, and we'll move on to our next matchup here. Because this one is you. Let's go with the. I guess this would be time for myself here. I think statistically this might have been the clincher of the week, but I just felt like in terms of full clinchability, Jacobs, he had 4 guys playing. So let's see, this song is called Into Space.
All right. Into Space on for a game here. It's a big ACC matchup. The Zoidberg Zoo, Doc and Carter Krause taking down the Commish and the Devils 113.42 to 107.24. Leading the way for the Zoo, it was Zaire Franklin, the defensive player. That is a monstrous game. 26.5 points. You love to see that. Absolutely incredible. Justin Herbert, he's going to end up scoring more than that a lot of the time, I think. 20.92 points, though. Definitely a solid performance for him there. Travis Etienne with 21. That's what you like to see out of your running back one. Otherwise, I am not seeing much else that I like here. Dameon Pierce, 6.7. Jamar Chase, 9.1 in their loss. That was a horrible game for the Bengals, that game against Cleveland this weekend. Jamal Williams in the flex, 7.2. That's really not great. And taking a look at the bench, 32.9 for Ayuk. You think that gets him a start this week?
I would hope so. This is it's just a bit of a frustrating one because this game was obviously winnable. Jalen Petrie getting hurt in the first quarter definitely stung because you'd hope, he ended with 3. You'd hope as an IDP he would have got 6 more to get you the win. I'm blaming Josh Allen for this loss because he had James Cook wide open on a reception touchdown and he missed him because he sucks. So I'm blaming him. No, but I mean, there were definitely good things to take from it. Calvin Ridley's back, which was, incredible to see. I think he's going to be one of the better wide receiver 2s in the league. Him and Trevor Lawrence is going to – I said it before the season. That's the connection that I was hoping for, and I was pretty happy with that. Saquon, tough game script. They lost 40-0. They got down early. They didn't really get the chance to run. I would say my concern level is not very high. Saquon had 9, Devontae had 12, and we still ended up over 100. I think getting TJ Watt will help solidify that IDP. I'd say my biggest concern is still RB2, but I'm hoping James Cook is able to help out, and then should be getting Jerry Jeudy back within the next week or two. So I still feel good about the playoff chances. I think one game, it's a frustrating loss, but I feel about as good in a loss as I've felt, this early in the season.
Yeah, I think that you're looking pretty good here, Commish. Definitely adding a better IDP is going to help you out here, right? You got to look towards linebackers and edge rushers, in my opinion, if you're going to look for an IDP. Just because that solo tackle statistic, that? That's like
Drew was shaking his head.
Yeah, I don't know why you went safety again this year, man. Like, I remember before you said, I cracked the code because safeties can tackle and get picks, but, they've yet to crack the code for you.
Right, in my defense, you got hurt in the first quarter. So let's not take any victory laps here on this one.
They play the game more dangerously. They lead with the neck more often.
No, usually I agree linebackers are the best, but, TJ Watt is a freak. So I'm excited.
I like TJ Watt.
For sure.
He won me my
almost
lost me because I didn't put him in the championship game.
I remember that,
Yeah, he was on my team. He's the reason I got to that Clancy Bowl.
Yeah, he's almost guaranteed a sack every week, so I feel good about him there. Let's see, high volume LBs on mid teams. Yeah, that's the Foyesade Olukun when he was on the Falcons. I think he's on the Jags now. Zaire Franklin is another great example on that. A lot of different approaches. TJ Watt had 33. He's probably not going to have 3 sacks every game, but he might have 2. Get me somewhere in the, as an IDP, you're hoping for somewhere in the mid to high teens. Maybe 20 would be great. But overall, frustrating loss, but long year ahead. And I've seen plenty of terrible teams come through this franchise, and I can see a loser when I look at one. And
this is not a bad team.
No, I think it was just it's week 1. I know Saquon and Adams will be better, and let's move on here to our next game, which will be, I think you're the only one we haven't done yet. Is that correct?
That is true.
Yeah. All right. Let's
pretty win.
Pull that one up here. First, I want to talk about. Let's just talk about Mark Andrews and get it out of the way. What happened there?
So Sunday, my rugby team was at the Phillies, so I was pretty busy with that all day. When did they announce he was going to sit?
I was wondering the same thing.
It wasn't early enough. It was probably like 10 a.m. or 11 maybe.
Okay, yeah.
It wasn't right before game time, but it was enough that I saw it. Yeah. And I didn't text you because I just figured you would see it or.
Yeah, I was drinking Miller Lite in Lot M by 9 o'clock. So
I played him in 2 other leagues, and I won one and lost the other. It was whatever.
They started him as well?
I started him in both of my other leagues because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate there that T. Higgins did they just not get him the ball, or did he not play either?
He played.
Okay.
It was just
unfortunate for that.
It was the worst possible game for the Bengals offense. Yeah. Cleveland owns them. The Bengals own most.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
I think Burrow's 1-5 against the Browns. I'm pretty sure.
He is.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this matchup here because you got 22.5 from Lamar Jackson. Same.
I got six. I got 6.5
Oh,
from Lamar.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the projection. My bad. 6.5 from Lamar. You had 18 from Mike Evans, 14 from AJ Brown, 13.9 from Derrick Henry. You know, a very low score for a win. But what'd you see from the team?
I saw Jake Elliott absolutely fucking carry my squad this week.
Oh,
18.7. He was the highest scorer on my team. No, I was pleased with the win. You know, like I said earlier, gritty win. Rachaad White. Ooh, I'm a little scared about that, but you know, I think that we'll be able to manage just fine here. Mike Evans showing me that he still has something quite a bit left in the tank. Actually, he had a damn good game in their win over the Vikings. Glad that Dalvin Cook was able to get the ball enough to get me the win. That's all I can really say. I'm happy to get out week 1 with a win.
As for the Jailbirds, Austin Eckler is really the only Jailbird who showed up in the banner-raising ceremony for this team after their Clancy Bowl 10 win, 26.4. 19.2 from Zay Flowers, who did make a point to say that he's going to have a good year. So good start for Zay in his career in Baltimore. But, I mean, I would say the main reason he lost the game was obviously T. Higgins not get a catch. DeAndre Swift was just an afterthought for the Eagles offense, which with Kenny Gainwell out on Thursdays is not going to be the case this time.
Yeah, they're gonna use him. So we'll see how that works. I think that Holbert should give him the start again tomorrow.
I was very, very surprised with Swift's lack of inclusion.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they figure that out. You know,
yeah,
they're going to have to.
All right, well, hey, the Bureau starts 1-0. Big NFC East win to start the year. Let's get into the Week 2 action here. Drew, while we got you here, we will start off with your matchup. Now, the interesting thing is that somehow, I don't know how this happened, somehow every single matchup is between a 1-0 team and an 0-1 team. We don't have a single 1-0 team playing another 1-0 team, which is bizarre.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Which, I mean, the league
big
has
divisional matchup here.
Oh, yeah, of course. And, I mean, the league has the chance to do the funniest thing ever with every team being 1-1.
I hope everyone does it besides me.
All right, Val. All right, Drew, let's talk about this matchup here. You got Kirk Cousins playing the Eagles on Monday night, as well as TJ Hawkinson. We feeling like a 50-49 Eagles win or what?
I might pull Kirk Cousins knowing how he is on prime time, to be honest with you. Especially after fucking Justin Jefferson got clamped last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, especially week 2 in the link.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last year.
Yeah, it was on Monday last year.
That's
so
right.
You know, especially since it's a Thursday night game, this might have to be a Russell Wilson stardom type of day, which is a tragic statement in its own right.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let's ride. Other than that, you know, once again, hoping my running backs get more than 50% of snaps. That would be cool.
So you talked about it earlier, but you're giving Brian Robinson the start here.
I think he's worth it. I actually even remember saying at draft night, like Carter took Antonio Gibson like 2 picks ahead of Brian Robinson, and I was like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure you just let me get the better one, and I will stand by that because like Gibson is a pass catcher, but I just think Robinson has like bell cow, like, you know, type of like just he has what it takes to be a bell cow. And you know, he got shot last year. Had that not happened, he might have already won the starting job by now. And that's my thought process. I'm hoping I'm right.
All right. Well,
yeah, I think you should roll with him, Drew. You know, give him like a game or two, see if they start utilizing him like a true RB1.
Yeah, it's a hope.
Very, very interesting. Austin Eckler is questionable right now. That would be a huge loss for him.
I've been paying attention to that situation. Don't worry, because Lord knows I could use a win in that regard. So if Eckler's out and I get to play his backup instead, so I just steal all of Holbert's running back points, it'd be cash money.
I did not even notice you had Josh Kelly. Wow, that is a big. So if Eckler's out, would you switch out DJ Moore or Robinson?
Honestly, probably switching out Robinson. Low key could even switch out Gibbs, but probably Robinson. I don't know. I'm gonna tinker with it. You know.
Yeah.
Everything I say now could change by freaking Sunday morning. But I know that my 2 receivers are not going anywhere, and definitely not going to the fucking Schenectady Shackles.
All right, well let's see if I can stay hot with the predictions. Give me a Chris Olave 30 piece. How about that?
Hey, keep it rolling. Like, say any positive thing you want to about my team.
Yeah.
No negative predictions.
No negative
I
predictions.
like Dicker the kicker with 15.
That'd be cool. Nick Bolton with a 25 piece. I think I like that.
Damn.
Cameron Dicker, legendary Eagles kicker.
I forgot he was on the Eagles.
Bison City,
Game.
not happy with DJ. I forget if he was on his team. I think Snyder had him last year.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I say jury's still out on DJ Moore personally.
Yeah.
You know, Jacob, you're allowed to have an opinion, but just not about my team.
Let's see. I think you'll win this matchup. I think especially if Austin Eckler is down. But I think the player that I'm interested to see from Holbert's side is Justin Fields, because he was not good in the first game. He really didn't run that much, which is something that, Justin Fields should not be throwing the ball 37 times a game. Like, obviously the game script wasn't there, but he's going to have to get some more. Here we go. We got another one. Justin Fields' ass. That's a little more.
He's
fair.
not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but in terms of fantasy, I mean, he was the reason I didn't go defeated last year for a while.
True.
He's I'll tell you what, I think Holbert's going to win this and give the Bureau the early division lead here.
There's always an ulterior motive. All right. Well, speaking of
Yeah,
that,
you're just selfishly thinking about it.
let's flip to your game now that we got you on. Now, this show has been highly critical of the Rocks so far. A Bureau loss to the Rocks would not be a good look early on. So talk about this matchup here.
Dude, the Rocks are like my Browns, and I'm Joe Burrow. I think that I think I might be like 1-6 against them, or like 1-7 or something like that. It's something crazy like that. But I like the Bureau for a win. It's a much better team. If we lose, it's going to be our own fault. That's all I have to say. Hoping Mark Andrews plays. I kind of have to start Jacoby Myers this week. He gave me 30 off the bench. I'm still thinking about maybe throwing Dalvin Cook in there, but we'll see about that, especially with Rodgers out. I feel like they're going to be using him.
I don't even know if Jacoby's going to play this week either.
Hey, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
He's in the protocol right now. I'm just saying your decision might be made for you. In that order.
Yeah.
Let's look at this matchup here. I mean, Lamar Jackson's going to need to bounce back. Obviously, 6 points for someone like him is a rough go of it. But I'm going to say, let's look at this matchup here. I mean, obviously, for Lamar to be as good as he can be, he probably would need Mark Andrews to play here as well. Let's get A.J. Brown for a good game on Thursday Night Football. Let's get a good start.
I like that. The Bureau's going to start out with a 25-plus point lead this matchup.
As for the Snyders here, he's got Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson now. I mean, his team kind of sits in the hands of Zach Wilson, because if the offense is bad, then there's only so much those guys can do. And I like the Bureau to win this matchup too. But with that being said, I think Snyder's team looks a lot better than it did last week, because Javonte and Breece, both coming off torn ACLs, both looked encouraging and looked like they could be fantasy starters. So I'll take the Bureau here, but I no longer think Snyder's going to go defeated.
All right.
Moving
on to our next matchup. It's the Commish, the Delco Devils, taking on the Collegeville Cash Flow Kings. And Ari, this looks to be a good one. Not a lot of space in the projections here, only just north of 3 points. Let's take a look at the matchup. Aaron Jones looking to go big for the Cash Flow Kings after a pretty good game, week 1, 26.7 points. He didn't practice today, which is something to be worried about, certainly, but we'll see how it shakes out on Sunday when they play the Falcons. For the Commish, the Devils, Saquon Barkley will certainly be a bigger part of the game plan going down to play Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals. I like a big game from Saquon. That's going to be my player to watch out for here for the Commish. And I like Joe Burrow to bounce back, lead the Cash Flow Kings. This is a tight one. I like the Commish to get the win because I fucking hate Jonathan Gannon. I hope that Barkley runs roughshod on them, but should be a close one.
Yeah, this game's interesting. I'm just worried I'm going to get A.J. Dillon because if Aaron Jones is out, then I know he's going to start A.J. Dillon, which is a recipe for disaster for me. I definitely like my matchups more. I mean, Saquon against the Cardinals, like you got to hope they're either leading or in command most of it. Trevor Lawrence and Ridley playing the Chiefs, that should be a shootout. James Cook against a shitty Raiders defense. Devontae Adams, potential shootout with the Bills. I'm still debating on the flex because Raheem Mostert's a little banged up. If Jerry Jeudy comes back, he could get the nod. Nico Collins had a good week. He had 11 targets against the Ravens. So I do feel good about this matchup. I think starting 0-2, especially both in the conference, would be tough. But it's funny, I'm playing the same running back core I had last year of Aaron Jones and Kenneth Walker. It sure would be a tough blow if now is when they finally, produce at their highest level now that I lost the Ridley ball already.
Yeah, that would certainly be something else there, but we'll see how it shakes out. I do like the Commish for a win, though.
All right, let's see. Next up on the list here, let's go to so I guess it used to be called the Battle of Mulberry Lane. Where do you guys live now? Like, what's your neighborhood called?
They're on Reed Street.
Battle of Reed Street. It doesn't have as good a ring to it as Mulberry Lane, but regardless, why don't you tell us the people about this one?
Well, Bed Bath & Beyond looking to rebound off a bad week. Lineup's not looking too good right now. He does have Kenny Gainwell still in the lineup, and we know that he's not playing. Hoping that Deshaun, the Massage Watson, has a good game against Pittsburgh. That's got to hurt for Owen, though, since it's in Pittsburgh. And I don't know. I like the Neanderthals here. I like Goddard to have a nice bounce-back game. Tua is going to play well. CeeDee Lamb, Devontae. Yeah, I think that I like the Neanderthals in this one. Dallas Goedert's going to have a big game on Thursday.
I don't think anything's funnier than the fact that Owen dropped 450 on Puka Nacua, and he's not even in the starting lineup.
I know. I'm sure that he will be. Because
he will be. Well, he better be.
Out, but.
Yeah, well, Kenny G's still in the lineup, so be careful, Owen. But, yeah, I don't know. This matchup's interesting. Tua played incredibly well in that game against the Chargers. Now he's got to go into New England and play Bill Belichick on Sunday Night Football. So that's a big test to see where he stands. Ramondre also in that game. This week we'll have the dual Monday Night Football games. It's the Panthers and the Saints, and I think the Browns and the Steelers is also Monday.
That's right. Yeah. So this one could play out late.
Yeah. I like the Neanderthals. I think that there's just some flaws in this Bed Bath & Beyond's team. They actually didn't have a terrible week last week, but overall, I like. Let's see. Who am I feeling here? Let's get Devontae and let's get Dallas Goedert on the board here.
Yeah, I like Goddard for a big one tomorrow.
All right. What games do we have left? I believe we got the Lake Effect and the Shekels. Do we have a comment that I missed? What are the odds that Owen leaves Gainwell? And at this point, probably higher yes than no, honestly. That's full transparency.
He'll figure it out.
I mean, like, I would say it's probably like somewhat 50-50, but it's definitely not impossible.
I mean, he lives with like two other Eagles fans. You got to imagine one of them will say something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if Chris is playing him, then he's
That's a good point. That is a good point. He might even tell beneath, like, yo, don't say shit to Owen about Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh, he's playing tonight, right? Yep, he's good. All right, we got the Shekels and the Lake Effect. Jason, Jacob, feel free to leave a comment about your team, like what you're looking forward to, what you're thinking about this week's matchup. But for me, it's the battle of the quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Allen is probably a top 15 quarterback in the league in real football, but in fantasy, he could be better than he was last week. He gets the Raiders defense, and that will obviously be, a much easier task than playing the good Jets defense. But Christian Kirk had a rough week last week, and I still think that, I mean, how did he do last week? Samaje Perine, I don't know, man. As long as Javonte keeps potentially getting better, his RB2 is going to be an issue. But what do you think about this one?
Yeah, battle of the quarterbacks is pretty right here. However, we can't ignore the running back play. Tony Pollard and Christian McCaffrey, both guys who have been known to get it done on the ground and in the air quite a bit in McCaffrey's case. This is going to be a good matchup here. It's projected to be a relatively high-scoring game. I do like the Lake effect this week. I do like the Lake effect. You know, I like the Lake effect this week. Darren Waller could have a good one for the fucking Giants.
Questionable right now.
Can't believe he did not play. He did not practice today.
There we go. Jacob is looking forward to him saying his hamstring's fine. Oh, I hope for your sake that is the case here. Let's see. It looks like DeAndre Hopkins is also questionable. That could just be like an old man maintenance day. What they do here. Yeah, I mean, this matchup definitely seems juicy. Allen and Diggs. I mean, Diggs didn't have a bad week last week. It was just Allen. I think Allen just needs to stop being a dumbass, and then he'll be fine. I'll take a
lot of divisional play this week.
I'll take the shekels here just to get out to a 2-0 start to the year, just to have it crash and burn. But injuries, I mean, there's a lot of red in this matchup here as well. All right, let's see. Do we have any matchups? I don't think I've talked about. I think our last one here is an big ACC matchup. So let's get this going here. Jalen Hurts, Alexander Madison, and Jordan Addison all on Thursday Night Football in the Eagles and Vikings game. That excuse me, really get out to a promising start there or a disappointing start. I'm feeling I wouldn't even say bad. I don't think Hurts played terrible. I mean, it was pouring rain on the road against Belichick, but I think this is where Hurts kind of gives everybody like we're good. Don't worry. Calm down.
Yeah, it's going to be a reminder of how good he was last year. Listen, Jalen Hurts is going to piece apart this bullshit Vikings team. I say it every year. They're frauds. Kirk Cousins is a fraud. He's just a pedestrian game manager who can't play in prime time. Birds by 40. I don't think that Madison's going to do anything because I think we're going to have him in the backfield half the game. Honestly, Hurts is going to have a good game for him here. I don't see Addison really getting any, although if Justin Jefferson gets clamped up like he did last year, that could be different. However, the Birds are missing Bradbury and Ed Reed Blankenship, so who knows what can happen there. I like the Zoidbergs in this one. I think that this is just a more fleshed out team in this matchup. Justin Herbert looking to have a big game down in Tennessee. Yeah, I like the Zoidbergs in this one.
Yeah, I like the Bergs too. I will say though that he does have some tough matchups. You look, Jamar Chase, good Ravens defense. Dameon Pierce, good Colts defense. Justin Herbert, Titans look. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's terrible, but their defense looked good in that last game. The Lions defense looked pretty solid against DK Metcalf. So I think that the Zoidbergs win, but I don't think either team breaks the bank in the score column.
Yeah, I think this could be a mid-1-teens to 120s type game, but I do like the Zoidbergs in this one.
All right, Drew, any final thoughts, any hot takes, anything you'd like to get off your chest here?
Yes, I'll leave on this note. My hot take of the week is that the Bureau doubles the rocks.
Doubles?
All right, I'll take it.
So are you thinking, I'm going to guess maybe like a 140s to 70s or 160s to 80s? What are you thinking?
Probably more in the 140s to 70s range. But I still think they're going to double the rocks. I just like you said earlier, his team looks a little better than we initially thought, but I think Snyder's team is still a bunch of pretenders.
If that happens, Snyder has to be on the show.
Usually we don't put people on for doing bad, but
that's part of the joke.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think we had him on last year.
No, you didn't.
And I remember
I think I did his second or something. I forget.
Yeah,
or it might have been Max or some shit.
I think he was mad about it, and I'm just like, dude, like you have to earn the right to be on this program, right?
He'll earn it by getting fucking dumpstered this weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a good show, guys. Thank you, Drew, for hopping on. You got anything else to add, Commish, before we wrap it up here?
I thought you were just going to say something. No, I mean, I think that this league is going to be very deep this year. I mean, I think there really aren't many teams that we've looked at and been like, they're dog shit. With that being said, I don't really think there are many teams where you look around and be like, holy shit, this team is stacked, right? Like, I truly think, and honestly, I will attribute that partially to the online draft because it's a lot harder to go really off the board with picks when we're all looking
Absolutely.
at like, the same set, which hopefully, next year we can get back offline again. It's just, it's a lot of fun to do that. But with that being said, I think it's going to be, I don't know. I just want, I feel like last year, your division playoff race was decided in like halfway through the season and
Yeah.
ours was pretty much decided. So I want some like last second chaos. I feel like we don't have many division titles go down to the last second very often.
Yeah, it usually plays itself out pretty early. So maybe they'll change this year.
Hope so.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the time that we have this week. For myself, for Brendan the Commish, Ricciardi, for myself, Ryan Cuzzo Elias. That's all the time we have. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me, fellas.